Hi, welcome to Outer City Limits, the webcomic made from user-suggested suggestions. Today's episode is Go to Sleep Tired. We got a lot of comments. Because it's been like 3 days since I made a comic. So first up, we got God Emperor Palpatine coming in saying, "Thank me so I can go home. I'm tired." Yeah, I get the feeling. Cold Hakubi, who I've recently figured out is Cold Fusion from my other comments. Previous episodes. If you've watched previous episodes, you'll know who Cold Hakubi is. He says, "My bank is letting me re-release Star Wars. A lot of bonus content will be yours." I think Cold Fusion might be George Lucas, or whoever runs Star Wars at Disney. We got Sigmund Generous. I don't remember if I've featured any of their comments yet, but they're here now. Sigmund says that they were consciously wondering where they've seen that bird before, and it turns out that they were Garfield from the popular comic strip Garfield Eats a Live Bird as It Begs. That's kind of messed up, Sigmund. No thanks. Just two really small comments from Beaver2 and Dog. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Dog may not have been paying attention. Beaver2, great. Finally we got Stephen Smith coming in with a big poem, and I think that's, a poem is sort of like a riddle. But I gotta tell you, Steve, I told you before not to make your text this big. I even went on my website and manually changed the size of your text to be smaller, and you still somehow found some way to make it bigger than anybody else's text by a wide margin. And I don't know what digital trickery you're doing to pull this off, but, you know, I'm not pleased, but there's not anything I can do about it, so... The Wild-Eyed Boy from Free Cloud by Stephen Smith. The hangman plays Fortnite before he goes to sleep, and the last thing on his mind is Fortnite. The Wild-Eyed Boy plays Fortnite. Beneath the last thing on his mind is Fortnite. Fortnite. The village is imprisoned by Fortnite, staring into the folds of Fortnite. Steve, I'm sorry, but I'm not that kind of YouTuber. Sorry, man. Alright, gonna do some really quick commentary because, in classic me style, I've already become disillusioned and unhappy with the format that I created, so rather than just not make a video, I'm just gonna be really negative. I'm gonna be letting out my unhappiness in this commentary, and it's gonna be fast because it shouldn't be fast. Panel 1, we got a Walmart guy busted in. He's actually busted the middle of the door down. There's not really much to like about this panel because Jim's head is way too big. Okay, panel 2, coming in. We got Jim 2, he's pointing down. Maybe it is crotch, but probably not. This isn't that kind of comic. Weird word bubbles going on in here. I don't know why it looks like Jim 2 is like a ham sandwich with a black eye. And he's got action lines that are like menace mines coming out of his brain and into your eyeballs. Alright, that panel sucks. Panel 3, we got Jim. He looks concerned. His head looks weird. He's wondering why this other guy has his name but with a number 2 at the end. He thinks maybe it's some kind of, you know, like alternate reality situation, but it's not. It's way stupider than that. Panel 4, you got a great panel, one of those panels everybody loves with a bunch of words in it. Let me read some of the words. Walmart, Machiavellian. I had to look that up to figure out how to spell it. Bring, because, wondering, Jim 2. Alright, panel's done. Panel 5. How does Walmart make money off this anyway? Who's gonna ring up the DVDs? And, you know, then like, we got a weird, awkward, side view of Jim's head again. I love doing that. It's ugly, awful, just awful. God. Okay, panel 6. Lots of great text. Let me just highlight some words here. Cost effective, shrink, Jim 2, nobody, bulbous, Star Trek. All the good words are in there. We got a bunch of scribbles as a background. Jim 2 continues to look like a moldy ham sandwich with 2 black eyes and a funky nose. Panel sucks. Alright, panel 7. I'm gonna go up to a guy and he's got a really tiny hand and a tiny gun. I don't know if I've recorded this separately. I haven't done the video yet, but look, maybe there's spoilers, but the guy's gonna have a tiny hand and a tiny gun. It's not very good. Okay, panel awful. The next panel, he's thinking about his real name. Oh, it's all handwritten because in this comic world that I've created, internal monologues can only be written by hand and not be thought. That's not consistent, but it's the rule I'm coming up with now. Next to last panel, we got Jim. He wants to talk about his experience in this comic, and he goes up to who he believes is his friend Oliver, but it turns out it's not his friend Oliver. That's a spoiler for the next panel. Oh god, I messed up. Okay, that panel sucked. The last panel. Oliver, that's not really Oliver, turns around. His name is Oliver with a 2 for a face, and then he thinks a bunch of stuff about Star Wars, and it's like, oh man, look, Star Wars has slaves in it. It's not okay to joke about slavery. But I'm doing it here in this comic because it's Star Wars and you can do anything. You can do anything with Star Wars. Star Wars can be anything. There's no limits to what kind of story Star Wars can be. Go to outercitylimits.com.